Hey there, welcome to your Monday Mojo. I'm so excited to be here today, and hooray, this is it. We made it to the end of the executing dimension of StrengthsFinder 2.0. We've been covering all of the different talents within the dimension of executing, right? How do we get things done? There are so many ways that we can get things done, and every person gets things done in different ways based on what they're naturally talented in. So we've been covering all of those different talents, and today we're closing out this dimension by talking about restorative. Now, when I think of restorative, I think of right? Like I want to get things back to their natural state. Or like this, what's wrong with this picture? I remember talking to someone who I went through a training with, and they had restorative. And they were sharing their story that they finally figured out what it meant. It's like this feeling that something is not right, and I want to solve it. I want to figure out what's not right with this picture, and I want to fix it. So in her case, she walked into her house every day, and just something didn't feel right. And this went on for weeks and weeks and weeks. And finally, she figured it out. Around her fireplace, there was a tile that was cracked. It was that simple. And every time subconsciously when she looked at that tile and walked in her house, it gave her the sensation that something wasn't right. So people with restorative want to restore things. They want to make them beautiful. They want to make them work well. They want to get them back to how they were originally at their best state. It's a wonderful way of executing. So someone with restorative on a team is going to be a solution maker, but they're also considered problem finders, right? So there's good and bad to this, because other people on the outside are thinking, gosh, this person is always looking at problems. They're always trying to pinpoint what's not working well, and they want to fix it. So the barrier label to this talent is that other people may be looking at you as a problem finder, not so much a solution maker. So see where you can make that switch and help others understand that what you're really doing is trying to get things to where they should be, how they're going to operate at their best and at their most natural state. Let's see what else I can tell you about this. People with this talent enjoy the challenge of analyzing all little situations, right? They're going to look at everything with a microscope and say, how can I make it better? How can I fix it? How can I get this going faster by resolving what's not necessarily working well? Okay, so they're very solution oriented to every single day problems. If you need someone who's going to solve problems quickly on your team and is going to be able to diagnose what's wrong, someone with restorative is perfect for you. In fact, the metaphor and the image for this talent is the medical model, right? So when we look at doctors, they come in and they want to diagnose what's wrong with you, unfortunately, right? So, and that's what we go to doctors for, is tell me what's wrong and then tell me how to fix it. This is the model for someone with restorative. They're going to look at it like if they were a doctor, looking for what's wrong and then finding a way to solve it quickly so we can execute it and get it out the door. Let's see, what else? People with restorative love being, not intimidated. They don't want to be intimidated by points of pain or dysfunction. They want to fix it, okay? They don't want to really harp on what's wrong. They just want to identify it and then solve it. They will look for the bug in the system, diagnose it, and then bring you a solution to fix it. They bring courage and creativity to problematic situations. So even though they look for the problems, they're not going to stay with the problem for very long. Remember that this is a talent in the dimension of executing. So they're going to find the problem, diagnose it, but really launch and get going to fix it. They need to solve problems. At the very core of this talent is that need, that desire that problems need to be fixed. They hate the idea that problems will just disappear if they're ignored. This is not that kind of person. So they're not just going to talk about what's wrong and not do anything. They're quite the opposite, okay? And they're going to be a problem solver for you. And so that is really the quick and dirty about restorative. I hope that that was very clear for you, the example of a friend of mine and how she described it. You know, until she was able to fix that crack in that tile, she didn't feel at ease. So people with restorative just, they want to make it better. They want to make it better so that it feels good, so that it's operating at its best. And we are done with the talents in the domain of executing. As I mentioned last week, we're going to take just a little break from strengths and strengths finder and talk a little bit about leadership, about well-being. So the next few weeks I'm going to bring you some new tips that you can use every Monday morning, and then we'll go back to strengths and cover all of the talents in the dimension of influencing. Thank you for being with me this morning. If you find these videos helpful, I hope that you will share them with your friends, with your colleagues, with your family members, and have them join our little community as we talk about strengths, about leadership, about well-being, and at the end of the day, being the best leaders of our lives and our careers. Namaste. Have a fantastic week.